2/3 of those with COVID-19 are not being contacted, that is a big problem. Because if we don't get track, trace and isolate properly running, we can't open the economy, we can't prevent infection disease, spreading. So let me ask a question in a different way. What's the government's strategy for closing the gap between the number of people with COVID-19 and those going into the system, not what happens to those that go into the system?
Speaker, I hesitate to accuse the right honourable gentleman of obscurantism. He's misleading on the key point. The number of people with COVID, of course, is an estimate in this country, Mr. Speaker. He's inadvertently misleading.
Prime Minister, one of us is going to have to give way. It'll have to be you. Prime Minister, obviously nobody misleads, and no honourable member ever would, whichever side they're from. Prime Minister.
He's inadvertently, I think, giving a false impression of what Test and Trace is doing. The 33,000 cases in the country is, of course, an estimate. What NHS Test and Trace is doing is contacting the vast majority of those who test positive and their own contacts and getting them to self-isolate. And it is a formidable achievement, Mr. Speaker. And yesterday, the right honourable gentleman was kind enough actually to say that he supported our policy and supported our programme. I seem to remember him saying that loud and clear yesterday. Today, and as I say, I understand the constraints of the profession in which he used to work. I know how it works. Yesterday and today, he seems to be yo-yoing back into a position of opposition. Which is it? Is he supporting what we're doing, or is he against it?
Mr. Speaker, the figures I gave that the Prime Minister says are inadvertently misleading are the slide at his press conference yesterday and the slide at the government's press conference last week, the latest figures. They're the two figures.